unable to learn when it comes in to learn in a group. Because,
Okay.
the major reason why people don't speak in English or are unable to speak fluently,
Without errors, right? So how do you, what do you think, how important is it to speak error free?
very important, Shantha. It's very important because, yeah, you might get out of practice, but you will never forget it.
Right. Yes. And do you think that people judge a person's personality based on how fluent they are in English? So what do you think?
Definitely is impressive. You can impress an Indian by speaking good English.
About words. So, is it important to use fancy words or simple English will do? Or what is the weightage of using fancy words? Mm.
But when you go to a company, professionally, you cannot use those words.
Yes.
You cannot say, I reached at, I left at. You have to say, I arrived at.
Since we were talking about getting stuck and using fillers, so we have a lot of thoughts in our mind which we want to speak, communicate effectively, but then we fumble and we are not able to express maybe even 80-90% of what is running in our minds. So how do we bridge that gap? How to communicate effectively the thoughts that are there in our mind? So, what are 2 to 3 habits which makes a person sound instantly fluent? How are you doing, ma'am? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm doing very well, Shanta. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing pretty well as well. So, I really appreciate you joining me today. So, I would love to know about you, your brief introduction for the viewers watching you. So, after that, we will jump into the conversation.
Okay. I'm Dr. Muskan, and I am a master's in home science, and my doctorate is in resource management. I have also secured a degree of B.Ed, and teaching is my core profession. So, teaching is not only my profession, it is my passion. And I have this unique ability to gel with any age group. So, I have taught children of 2 years. I was a pre-primary teacher, like
Oh,
from 2 years up till 65, 70 years. So I have had the opportunity to teach all age groups. And I have given more than sessions to more than 20,000 learners in the past 2 decades that I have been working. And I hail from Nagpur, Maharashtra.
okay. Okay, that's amazing.
So
Uh,
even I have worked for multiple platforms, and I have cherry picked everything that was the best in each platform. And I started my own spoken English classes, Speakify English.
okay.
And now we are preparing the content with we have a team of experts, and all our tutors are highly qualified, experienced tutors. So we are all the ones who have been burned by the previous organizations, platforms, and then we've started this platform so that, there is no burnout at all. Like we don't have to do things without being paid.
Yes, yes. That is a major hurdle when it comes to training or teaching, right? The pay is really low. So, how long has it been that you have been teaching on this platform, like your platform? So, how old is it?
My platform is a year old, very new. It's a baby right now.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, do you provide a
So,
one-on-one and group both?
no, right now we are focusing only on one-on-one sessions because, I have had this experience of teaching offline also and in groups also. And I have realized that people, usually adults, I'm not talking about kids or students, adults, they are unable to learn when it comes in to learn in a group. Because,
Okay.
the major reason why people don't speak in English or are unable to speak fluently is because they have this fear of being judged. So, they think that instead of opening my mouth and letting people know that I cannot speak well in English, it's better I don't speak at all and let them think that I don't speak English well. So, this fear of being judged is the biggest hurdle. They don't try. And the only way a person can improve the fluency is when they practice, they speak without speaking, it is impossible to learn spoken English, no matter how much reading, writing, listening they do. Everything will help them understand the language better. So that is why we have kept only one-on-one sessions. As I told you, that I have cherry picked everything that was the best in all the platforms. We did this because in an organization we were giving offline group sessions also, but it didn't work. I have given offline sessions to ladies and working professionals. I had an institute, Elite the Learning Studio. So, the learners used to come to me to learn, but none of them improved the way I wanted them to improve. Because again, no, I don't want to speak because I know her, she's my friend. So in a group, they are unable to speak. And one on
Hmm.
one gives them that freedom and that confidence that, okay, even if I make errors, she's not going to judge me.
True.
Once
Yes.
they start speaking fearlessly, even if they are making errors, that's the only way they will learn.
Hmm. But again, there should be some kind of cons of one-on-one sessions, don't you think? Like maybe there is some advantage of group sessions over one-on-one?
Yes, there several advantages of group sessions. Like, it builds your confidence. You are able to speak in front of people, right?
Hmm.
And you learn discipline, you learn to adjust your time, your learning fastens because, there might be questions you don't ask, but the other person asks. And
Yes.
you realize that, oh, yes, this is also what I didn't know. So
Hmm.
there are several advantages of group sessions, but that should be done only when you can speak English.
Yes.
Right now, we have learners who are struggling with sentence formation. They're making grammatical errors while speaking.
Yes.
So they are like working professionals, homemakers. They don't have the time to sit down in a group and learn. So they want that freedom that I should be able to choose my time, my tutor.
Yes.
So we have also given our learners the freedom to choose the time and tutor. So that, when they interact with multiple tutors, they will gain confidence also. Usually, what happens with one tutor, the learner becomes comfortable sooner or later.
True.
So, I strongly believe that a comfortable person will never learn anything in life. You need to come out of your comfort zone if you want to learn something.
Yes. That's so true.
So, that's
Yes.
why we have given them this facility that you choose the time and tutor of every single session.
Yes, and now in this era of technology, I think everybody prefers online sessions because of the convenience, and
Yes.
they don't have to commute, they don't have to show up every single day somewhere. They can do it from the comfort of their home. But is there any cons? I mean, is there any pros to offline teaching?
Pros to offline teaching, the biggest pro is that it is affordable.
Oh, okay.
Because when I'm teaching in a group, my
Mhm.
charges will be much less than what I'm charging for a one-on-one session. See, when you're getting the luxury, when you're getting the facility, when you're getting a private tutor, personal tutor,
Yes,
then definitely the expense will be more than what it is in an offline class.
yes.
Then the best thing here also is that, you don't have to learn from a person who has the same MTI as you have.
Hmm. Yes,
Offline sessions, that can be one hurdle also, that,
yes,
the tutor also has the same MTI that you have.
that's
But the
true.
biggest pro I an offline class is that you don't need to take group sessions. Secondly, it's very affordable.
Okay. Yes, and you just told that people are scared to because they're worried that they will not be able to speak without errors, right? So how do you what do you think how important is it to speak error free?
Very important, Shanta. It's very important because, uh, if the listener has grammar OCD, or, has this OCD of you
Yes.
listening to you with the perfect English, then the listener will not listen to what you're telling. Once you make an error, you'll get stuck. The listener will get stuck there. Like, she didn't say the
Yes.
correct word and will miss out what you're saying after that. So that
Oh,
happens with me a lot of times,
yes.
a lot of times that, I just get stuck with the A and only, and then I miss out the next sentence. So it is very important for you to speak without making errors if you want to communicate effectively.
Hmm. And since you have dealt with both children and adults, so how different is learning when it comes to children versus adults? I know children learn faster, but other than that, is there any major difference?
I love kids,
Mm.
so I just love their innocence, and they show instant results
Mm-hmm.
because they learn faster than adults. They show instant results. And as a tutor, it is very satisfying.
Yes.
It takes more efforts to, train an adult rather than a child,
Mm. Oh, okay.
because children learn and grab instantly.
Yes.
So,
That's good.
but,
Yeah.
their what we teach them is also totally different.
Mm.
uh, Adults learn more of professional communication,
Yes.
whereas children learn basic. And most of the parents are focused on grammar, teach my child grammar.
Okay.
Whereas if you want to speak a language, you don't need to learn grammar,
Mm. Yes.
right? Most of the people think that, you teach me grammar and I'll be able to speak, I'll be able to communicate well. So I had this learner, Shantha, who has taken offline sessions, classes from me, 1 hour daily, Monday to Saturday, 6 days a week, for 2 years.
Oh.
All right. But her focus was that you just teach me grammar. I
Mm.
kept on insisting that, see, if you don't communicate, if you don't speak, you will not be able to speak fluently. And she wanted to become a teacher. So she was preparing for some exam. And for that particular exam, she required grammar.
Grammar.
So I taught her she could write one sentence in 30 different ways.
Wow.
30 different ways she can write one sentence, but couldn't speak.
Mm.
So, the efforts that a person puts in has to be guided, it has to be in the right direction.
Yes.
That is why I always say that, practice, but with an expert.
Mm.
Initially, you need guidance.
Yes, you need feedback. You need a mentor to tell you what you're doing wrong because many people don't know what they're doing wrong. And once those mistakes become habits, it becomes very difficult to change them. No matter how many times you keep telling this is wrong, don't use this, still they don't get it because they are habitual to speaking like that.
Yeah. And the biggest example of this is people's and children.
Yes.
They'll say children's. And then no matter how much you tell them that, children
Mm.
is the plural of child, but now they have become used to it. Like that's become their language. So, they have to intentionally pause, say
Mm.
people or children, and then move forward. So it becomes very difficult to break the habit and teach them something that is they are doing is incorrect. That is why with children, this challenge is not there.
Yes, because once you teach them the correct English, so they're going to remember it.
Mm. Yes. And these
Okay.
are skills which you never forget.
Yes, they are skills just like swimming or cycling. So you're going to remember
Yes,
them.
yes. Yeah. You might get out of practice, but you will never forget it.
Mm, that's amazing. That's why people say learn whatever you want to learn when you're a child, because you will learn it right
Yes.
and you're going to remember it.
Yes. Mm.
Okay.
Up
So
to
do
the age of 8 years, teach as many languages as you want to the child, and the child will learn it.
okay, but parents have this kind of confusion. If we are teaching them multiple languages, maybe they will not become fluent in any. So should I talk in my native language or should I start teaching them English from a very young age? Maybe the child will get confused. But I think children are like sponge. So they'll just absorb and they'll learn everything.
Yes, yes, yes. They learn everything till the age of 8. Even they learn by listening to you.
Ah, right.
So no
Oh,
matter how many languages you teach, it is good. It's
yes.
actually, I think parents underestimate their children.
Yes.
I have done
The-
that too. But fortunately, I had good guidance from mentors who told me that no, don't do that. Let your child do everything that the child wants to do.
Mm, that's right. Yes. And do you think that people judge a person's personality based on how fluent they are in English? So, what do you think?
Definitely. Definitely they judge. And Indians judge your entire personality
Yeah.
on the basis of the English that you speak.
Yes. And it has to be fluent
That's
and with good grammar as well.
yes, that's the irony of our country. But Shanta, do you know why this is happening?
Maybe we have given that kind of status to English language. I'm not sure, so I would love to hear from you.
Why? Why have we given this status? See, every country that has been colonized by the Britishers,
Mm-hmm.
we have grown up seeing and thinking that English is the language of the powerful people, the elite.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why we feel that if a person can speak in English well or is fluent in English, is a smart person,
Yes.
is impressive. You can impress an Indian by speaking good English,
So true.
right? So it is an official language for us.
Yes.
And that is why most of the people will behave in a different way when they speak their mother tongue
Yes.
and in a totally different way when they speak in English.
Yes.
They themselves feel that they have become very smart, you
Mm.
know, they become confident when they can speak in English. Because I know of so many people, Shanta, who are successful, who are
Mm.
rich, who have earned a lot of money, they have fame, everything. But the only regret they have is that they cannot speak fluently in English. And they
Mhm.
want to learn.
Yes.
So that's how valuable spoken English is for our country.
It is definitely yes. And do you think is it fair to judge a person's personality based on what kind of English they speak?
Life isn't fair with anyone. So I wouldn't say that it is fair or it is unfair because we all do it. It's not that one person is doing it. All of us do this,
Yes.
right? Suppose, there are two guys with the same package, same background, same community, and the girl has to choose one of them. One can speak very well in English, the other
Oh.
can't,
Yeah.
right? Hmm.
Yes. Yep.
So we all do that. So why should we think of this, whether it is fair or not?
Of course, yes. And what about words? So, is it important to use fancy words or simple English will do? Or what is the weightage of using fancy words?
See, I strongly believe that you should know everything, whether you use it or not. It's good to have knowledge of anything and everything, even if you don't need to use it in your life.
Mm.
For example, cooking. Cooking is a skill, which
Yes.
I feel that it is not gender biased. Like it that girls should know cooking and boys shouldn't. Everyone should know cooking because it's a life skill. You will need it. Let's hope and pray that you don't need it. You don't
Mm.
have to cook. You always have this facility of getting it cooked by someone else. But you should have knowledge of it. Similar is with the vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
You should have knowledge. You should know the vocabulary. It doesn't matter even if you're not using it in your language because vocabulary and fancy words are to be used in front of people who can understand,
Understand them. Yes.
right? We have two good speakers. One is Shashi Tharoor and one is Sudha Murthy,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
But when you listen to Sudha Murthy, you're very comfortable because her words are the words that you can understand easily,
Right.
right? You don't have to stress yourself to understand.
Yes.
But I will not say that, I have learners who come up to me and say that I don't want to concentrate on vocabulary. I want to just learn to speak.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference. If you are a student, you can use that vocabulary.
Mm.
But when you go to a company, professionally, you cannot use those words.
Yes.
You cannot say, I reached at, I left at. You have to say, I arrived at,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Then that is what is making you professional. So, vocabulary has that power to make you impressive, to help you speak without fumbling. Why do most of the people fumble or use fillers?
Because they don't know what to say next or they forget words.
Yes, they are translating in their mind. They are thinking, अब इसको English में क्या बोलूं? What is the word to be used in English? You know, so that is that moment, fraction of a second also, they fumble, they use fillers. So if you have a good vocabulary, you will not fumble or use fillers,
Mm, yes, there is a
right?
difference between your natural English and then business English, because you just gave an example. I reached at. No, you have to say I arrived, right? So there
Yes.
is a difference. There's so many types of English also
Yes.
when you speak.
Mhm. Correct, correct. So you have to adapt to the environment that you are in. Suppose you're speaking at home or informally, you can use the vocabulary that is used for informal communication.
Yes.
But in the office, you will not, if you are using that same vocabulary in the office, your communication will not be impressive.
Hmm. Yes. Okay. Since we were talking about getting stuck and using fillers, so we have a lot of thoughts in our mind which we want to speak, communicate effectively. But then we fumble and we are not able to express maybe even 80-90% of what is running in our minds. So how do we bridge that gap? How to communicate effectively the thoughts that are there in our mind?
See, everybody has their thoughts in their mind, right? Now, if I tell the person to tell me in their mother tongue, they will be able to speak easily,
Yes.
right? But when it comes to English, they cannot. That means what they lack is vocabulary, they lack practice, they lack guidance. So that is why I told you right in the beginning that, people need to practice, they need to speak fearlessly with an expert who can guide and correct and help the person, right? So there are so many tricks and techniques that you can use. You can brainstorm yourself, you can organize your thoughts, and then when you speak in an organized way, the thoughts will flow out easily.
Hmm.
But all this will need guidance and practice. I'll give you a very small example, Shanta. When I ask people, like learners, that tell me what is your daily routine, they will start with, I get up at.
Mm-hmm.
Now the correct vocabulary here is, I wake up at.
Yes.
Because if you're sitting down or you're lying down, you can say, I get up.
Mm.
For example, I wake up at 8 o'clock, I get up at 9 o'clock. Okay, so there's a difference between wake up and get up. Now,
Yes.
when I correct them, I tell them, they admit that, yes, I was aware of this word.
Mm.
I knew that, when I wake up from my sleep, I will use the word wake up. But while speaking, I did not use the word.
Yes.
Why? Why? Why didn't you say the word wake up when you were aware of it? Because you lack practice. Having a vocabulary and using it are two totally different things.
Yes.
You need to use the words.
You should have a
And some
practice of
people have
speaking it.
this, yes, yes. And some people have this flair, this inborn talent that, once they'll hear the word and they'll start using it. Some
Mm-hmm.
people need time, 5, 6 times, when they read or they come across that word, then they'll start slowly and gradually, they'll start using it in their language. So it depends from person to person. If a learner is a fast learner, can learn easily.
Hmm. And this
But it's
English.
not something, not no rocket science that a person cannot
Yeah.
learn.
Yes, that's true.
It can be done. Some might take more time, some might take less time.
Yes. Is intelligence anyway connected to learning English? Is an intelligent person going to learn English quickly, or is there a relationship?
No, no, no. It's nothing about intelligent. It is, you know, everybody, suppose there is a singer, for example. Can we say that this singer is intelligent because he's a singer, he can sing? I am not intelligent because I cannot sing.
No.
Intelligence cannot be judged on one parameter,
Yes.
right? It is a skill.
Hmm.
Some people are born with that skill that, they adapt to languages. Some people are very good at math.
Hmm.
Some people are very good at social studies. Some people are very good at science. Doesn't mean that you will hardly find any child who is very good at all this,
Yes.
languages, all the subjects.
Yeah.
So we cannot judge a person only on the basis of English. We do that, but
Yes.
we don't judge the intelligence. We judge the
Yes.
personality.
Hmm. True. Okay, so we were talking about how to use and then speak fluently. So what are 2 to 3 habits which makes a person sound instantly fluent? So is there any habits that someone can inculcate to sound more fluent in English?
There are many things that a person has to understand before the person starts speaking,
Oh, yes.
right?
Yes.
So you need to judge your audience. You need to understand what is the level of the listener.
Okay.
See, good communication does not only mean that you can speak well. I have a good vocabulary. I can speak without making grammatical errors. I can tell everything comfortably. That doesn't mean that I'm a good communicator.
True.
To be a good communicator, I need to speak well. I need to listen well. Because if I don't listen, I will not be able to give you an appropriate response. And I also have to make sure that when I am speaking, the listener is understanding what I'm saying. That is my responsibility,
Yes.
right? So if I know that you are a, you know, a college student or a person who is not very good in English, and I start using vocabulary that you will not understand, my communication is not effective, because the meaning of communication is to be able to convey what you want to say to the other person. And the other person should remember and retain whatever information you have given.
Mm.
So, there are many tricks that we use, like using examples, phrases, idioms. Suppose, I'm telling you something and I start with, like, let me tell you a story.
Mm.
Instantly, you will pay attention, even if you're
True.
distracted.
Yes.
So, there are some tricks and techniques that have to be used to retain or grab the attention of the listener. Use idioms, phrases, examples, and always when you're speaking, summarize whatever you have said.
Mm.
So that if the listener has lost interest or, did not hear something, skipped something, the listener will understand everything. So always you should summarize.
Mm. Yes, because it is common that we sometimes zone out when that person is talking, and if they are talking for a long time, it's natural that we zone out. So at the end, if you're summarizing, then they will get the gist of what you were trying to say.
Yes. Right.
Okay,
Mhm.
right. Okay, so those were my questions for you. So if there is anything that you would like to ask or share from your end, any advice for the learners, so you can share it.
My only advice to the learners is that, practice. That's the only key. Practice, but with an expert who can guide you.
Yes.
an expert who can correct you when you make errors, who can tell you better vocabulary and sentence structure. So practice with an expert. For example, if I want to learn swimming, I cannot stand outside the pool for a year and read books on how to swim and watch videos on how to swim and then say that I know how to swim.
Hmm.
No, I will have to go inside the water. I will have to struggle, right? So if you want to speak English fluently, start speaking fearlessly to an expert. And there will be a time when you will be able to convey your thoughts and ideas comfortably. You will be impressive. That I can assure.
Yes, it is so true that it is worth an investment when you learn from a mentor at the beginning of your journey so that you learn the right things. You learn how, I mean, they're going to guide you what you have to focus on because some people are not very good when it comes to their accuracy or pronunciation. So when you learn guidance from mentors, it is a different game when you do that versus if you try to learn by yourself. It's going to take a lot of time. Yes, there are a lot of people who learn by themselves, but then it's going to take a lot of time and you need a lot of motivation to learn by yourself. If you have a mentor, you're going to join
Yes.
on time, you're going to respond, you're going to do the homework, or you're going to show it in your speech because that mentor is there to ask you why you did and why you did not do. So I think it is really important.
Very important. You need an expert. And anything that you pay for, you will definitely take it seriously. Right? Mm.
That's true.
And it is an investment, definitely. Most of the people say that, I want one-on-one sessions, 1,000 rupees a month. It is not possible. You think practically that, do you want a tutor who is not even charging 100 rupees per session? Do you want that quality of education? But I don't understand why people want the facility, they want the luxury, they want the result, but they don't want to invest. It's not even an expenditure, it is an investment. Whatever they invest for a 3-month plan will be less than their 1 week salary in future.
Hmm.
But they don't understand this.
Yes. And we spend a lot on parties, right? Maybe a dinner, maybe a
Yeah.
get together with friends. So we spend that 3 months of pay there. But when we have to invest in something that is going to be good for our future, we think twice.
Yes. Twice, I would say 100 times they'll think.
100 times true.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, then. So we come to the end of the session. So it was really insightful. And, whoever is going to watch the session, they're going to learn a lot of things from you, from your expertise. So thank you so much for this session and joining me today.
Thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure talking to you, Shanta. God bless.
Likewise, ma'am. I learned a lot from you. Thank you.